we hired camels and set out through a desert totally devoid of settlements. This desert is luminous and radiant. There is no road, no track, only sand blown about by the wind. You see mountains of sand in one place, then you see they have moved to another.
I've spent so much of my time hunting for Ibn Battuta that I sometimes don't notice when he creeps up on me. As we rode east towards Mecca, the 670 years between us seemed to fall away. Ibn Battuta was not destined to get to Arabia this way. Just as the holy man on the Nile predicted, he had to turn back at the Red Sea and eventually made the Hajj pilgrimage over land through Syria. For most pilgrims, Mecca was the end of the road. But for Ibn Battuta, his journey had only just begun. In 1325, shortly after the end of the Crusades, a young Moroccan Muslim called Ibn Battuta set out on a pilgrimage to Mecca. It was to become an odyssey from one end of the known world to the other. In all, he traveled 75,000 miles, more than 3 times the distance Marco Polo covered. Along the way, he was to meet magicians, dervishes, holy men, fire eaters, and other travelers from across 3 continents. He was by turns scholar, businessman, mystic, warrior. He was imprisoned by mad sultans, was married 10 times, and had countless concubines. And when he got home, after 29 years on the road, he wrote it all down. Ibn Battuta's journey took him crisscrossing 75,000 miles across the globe. His route appears random and wildly eccentric. When he was traveling, Christendom was still dragging itself out of the Dark Ages and towards the Renaissance. But Islam was at its glittering height. About half the known world was under Islamic rule, and the trade routes lay wide open. This was a golden age of Islamic travel, and Ibn Battuta seized the unique opportunity to see the world.
On the day of my departure, my father gives me a magnificent horse, gold, and his blessing. From my mother, I received the ihram, 2 lengths of plain white cloth I will wear in Mecca. Sister, you. And then, as a bird forsakes its nest, I forsake my home and family, not knowing if we will ever see each other again. The sun guides me by day, and the stars are my companions at night. Travelers have told me that danger lurks at every turn on the roads to Mecca. But I believe those braving the greatest risk will receive the greatest reward. If I am to die, let it be on the road to Mecca. Such boastful words I spoke to my friend Hamza.
Ibn Battuta left Tangier for Mecca in 1325 and headed east through modern Algeria, Tunisia and Libya. His account of the journey is sparse until he arrives in the city he calls a unique pearl, Alexandria. Ibn Battuta didn't rest for long. He soon took to the road again and headed for an obscure village in the Nile Delta, 30 miles from Alexandria, where he was to have an experience that would change his life forever.
Go to the roof and sleep there, for this was during the summer heat. That night, as I was sleeping on the roof of the cell, I dreamt that I was on the wing of a huge bird, which flew me in the direction of Mecca, then made towards Yemen, and finally made the long flight towards the east, alighted at some dark and greenish country, and left me there. I arrived at length in the city of Cairo, mother of cities and seat of Pharaoh the tyrant, mistress of broad provinces and fruitful lands, boundless in multitude of buildings, peerless in beauty and splendor, the meeting place of comer and goer, the stopping place of feeble and strong. Therein is what you will of learned and simple, grave and gay, prudent and foolish, base and noble, of high estate and low estate, unknown and famous. She surges as the waves of the sea with her throngs of folk, and can scarce contain them for all the capacity of her situation and sustaining power.
The population of Cairo in the first half of the 14th century was around 500,000, 15 times larger than that of London at the same period. If Alexandria had seemed metropolitan, Cairo was megalopolitan. It was the seat of Arab arts, letters and sciences, and even had an eye hospital which offered cataract operations. Al-Azhar claims to be the oldest functioning university in the world. It was founded some 3 centuries before the first Oxford College. In the 14th century, it was home to the greatest concentration of scholars and jurists in the Arabic-speaking world. Ibn Battuta took every opportunity to study at the feet of eminent Islamic professors, brushing up his Quranic recitation.
At Old Cairo, too, is the cemetery called Al-Karafa, a place of vast repute for blessed power, for it is part of the Mount of Al-Muqattam, of which God has promised that it shall be one of the gardens of paradise.
The so-called City of the Dead is supposed to be off limits to foreigners. This was once simply a cemetery, but over the years the urban poor have moved into the tombs. The government now regards it as an embarrassment. From Cairo, Ibn Battuta headed south. Rather than wait for the season of the Hajj pilgrim caravan, he wanted to explore the towns and villages along the Nile. Once again, his wanderlust had got the better of him. He planned eventually to get to the Red Sea and sail to Arabia. While Ibn Battuta was traveling up the Nile, he met another holy man, blessed with the power of prophecy.
When he asked me what I proposed to do, I told him that I intended to make the pilgrimage to Mecca by way of Jeddah. He replied, "You will not succeed in doing that on this occasion. Go back, for you will make your first pilgrimage by the Syrian road and no other."
On his travels, he encountered all that was weird, wonderful, and unexpected in the Muslim world. To follow in his footsteps will show that Islam comes in 1,000 different guises: the dancing dervishes of Turkey, the mystics and madmen of India, the magicians of the Maldives, the sages and sorcerers of China. All this lies just beyond the horizon.